insecure, meaning they don't have access to fresh food. And now scientists are telling us that if for the first time in 200 years, our teens, meaning you, are the first generation that's expected to have a shorter life expectancy than your parents. And I don't know if I'm the first one to break that news to you. It's really bad news. And it's a lot of bad news. There's a lot of big problems here, right? But what I wanted to say is that that's all the bad news, right? So here's the good news. The problems are so big, right? But we are all sharing the problem. We all created this system. We're all responsible for this system, and we all participate in the system daily when we buy our food. So I know you're probably sitting there now and you're probably a little upset at me. So you're like, I don't know, 13 years old, and you're telling me that I'm responsible for this system that looks much older than I am. All these problems look older than me. I didn't do this. You guys did it. The older people did this to us. And so, yeah, I would be happy if you're angry at us for making all these problems, because that means that you see the injustice in the system and also all the waste in the system, and you're interested in making a better place. So after you get through the anger, you might feel a little helpless, right? You might feel like, what am I going to do? I'm one little person. This is a really, really big problem. So this idea of sharing the problem is really important. So I'm going to take a little poll here. In the last day, I want you to think about what you did in the last day. You woke up in the morning yesterday, you might have shared a bed with somebody or a bedroom with somebody, you might have shared a hairbrush or used somebody else's clothes. You might have shared earphones with somebody on the train and listened to their music. You might have forgotten you to go breakfast, so somebody gave you a snack and you were very thankful, but then your breath smelled bad and you shared gum with somebody. You might have forgotten a pen today and you asked somebody if you could borrow one. You might have shared a photo on Facebook, or you might have uploaded a note on Twitter. So I'd like to take a poll. I would like to see how many people in this room have either borrowed something, lent something, or shared something in the last 24 hours. How many people? Awesome. Awesome, awesome. I think I saw almost everybody's hands up. So what that means is that we have everything we need in this room to solve the problems, the really big problems in the world, because we like to share. And we like to share the good stuff, right? We like to share our ice cream with people, we like to share our music with people. What I'm saying is that it's a really powerful thing to also share the problems, because what that means is that then you share the burden, and something that is really large becomes manageable, because everybody's sharing a little piece of that burden. So let me get back to that farm that almost never was, which is the farm I now run. This photo, which is a little hard to see, is my mom in her garden in the 1970s. And about 2 years ago, I was totally fed up. I said, I don't want to participate in that system. I don't want to participate in a system that ruins the planet, that doesn't feed everybody, and that wastes all of our resources. So the one small thing that I can do, small thing, I need to do something accomplishable, is I could grow my own food. And so I thought about my mom and growing all our own food when we were kids. But I had one big problem. I didn't have any land. And in New York, I didn't have $1 million to get land either. And so I thought maybe, just maybe, somebody would be willing to share their yard with me. And in return, I would share whatever produce I grew. And I thought that would be a pretty good relationship, right? Then that seemed manageable. And so I told everybody I knew. I put ads out on Craigslist. I said, I want to share your yard, I want to farm your yard. I put pamphlets out everywhere I went. I went to conferences. And people love the idea. They're all like, that's a great idea. I love the idea. Nobody had any land, or if they had land, it was too small. It was not sunny enough. It wasn't accessible. And there was a time when I thought that this was never going to happen, because it was getting into about halfway through the growing season. And I was thinking, I finally And so I went and saw a couple more yards, and again, they weren't big enough, they weren't sunny enough. And so I was starting to feel again like, I guess I gotta wait another year. And I was walking home one day, I was really depressed, and my phone rang, and I didn't recognize the phone number. And the woman on the other end of the line said, I heard about you through a friend of a friend who was at that farmer's market. I love the idea, I have the perfect backyard. I was like, yeah, I heard all before, I have the perfect yard. And it turned out I was about 3 blocks from her house. So I went, and she had the perfect yard. And it may not look perfect, it's filled with weeds, but the weeds mean that it's really sunny, which is great. And so now I am about halfway through the growing season. I desperately want to grow food. I'm running out of time. I know I've got to make this happen really, really fast. Now, I don't know if you guys remember what happened 2 summers ago. This summer, totally gorgeous, sunny, right? Every day, drought everywhere. Last summer, rainy every day, miserable. I don't know, I'm sorry, 2 summers. Yeah, last summer, 2009. So I had a space of 36 hours of cloudy day, and then after that was 7 days of torrential downpours. And if I didn't get my plants in the ground, it wasn't going to happen this year. I was not going to be able to grow what I wanted to grow. So I showed up at the yard, and I didn't have the right tools because this all was happening really fast. And so all I had was this little red wagon, and I was in the backyard, and I was pulling weeds out of the yard, and I was trucking them out with this little thing. And thankfully, one of the neighbors looked over and said, hey, what are you doing? And I told him, and he said, that's a great idea. Any great person that he is, he shared his wheelbarrow with me. So now I'm on my way, and I'm moving and shaking, and I'm pulling everything out of there really fast. So I said, awesome, I'm going to give you some tomatoes, definitely, whenever they happen. And he was cool with that trade. And then the other thing is that everything happened so fast, I didn't have time to test the soil. And the soil is really important to make sure that you have safe soil for growing food. So we decided the best scenario was to truck in the soil just this one time. And so again, remember I had very little time. So the soil shows up. And it's 19 cubic yards of soil. And just to put that in perspective, that is 22,000 pounds. A semi-truck weighs 20,000 pounds. So this weighs more than a semi-truck. So now I have a day to move all of this. Literally, I'm moving a mountain in a day, just so I can plant my own food. And I only have a day, and then this whole thing's going to turn into a mudslide if I don't move it. And so I'm shoveling, and this is me about a third of the way through. And somebody else brought a new wheelbarrow for me, which was even sturdier, which was great, and I promised them some herbs. And then, you know, the family would come out periodically, and they would watch, and they would look up at the sky, they would look at their watch, and they would look at the pile, and they'd try not to be discouraging. And I'd keep shoveling, my hands hurt, my back hurt. And then something really fabulous happened. Look at the smile on my face. Somebody else said, hey, what are you doing? And I told them, and they were like, that's really cool. And they went and they got their wheelbarrows. Now I have 2 wheelbarrows, and there's 2 of us, we're moving soil. And then the most phenomenal thing happened. And I don't have any photos of it, because the guy who was taking all these photographs put the photo down. And he had on like his dress shoes, he was on his way to church, he starts shoveling soil. And then the 2 girls that live in the house, they're 13-year-old daughters, twins, they didn't want anything to do with it. They didn't want to get their clothes dirty, they didn't want to get their shoes dirty. All of a sudden, they start shoveling, and they're having the time of their life, and they're smiling. And then the guy who lives upstairs, he comes out, and he starts shoveling. And next thing you know, there's like 9 of us. And finally, at the end of the day, all of the mountain was gone. All the soil was in the backyard. I had the start of my new farm. And the sun came up briefly for about 5 minutes. And then it started raining. And then 2 months later, I had this thriving farm. And we had, I was selling produce to 6 people in the community, one of which was the guy who helped move a lot of the soil. The guy who gave us the wheelbarrow, we gave him tomatoes, we gave herbs to other people who helped out. And so it was a really, you know, this fabulous story about how to shared their time, they shared their energy, they shared their ideas. The most important thing you can do is share your ideas. And then we have these beautiful hens that shared their eggs with us. We have a 15-member egg CSA in the community. And it's awesome that Graham from Leave It Better was here because he came out and he shared the story online. So people started hearing about our chickens and getting really excited. So it's awesome to have part of the family room. And then we also, because we had this operation of chickens, we also get to share all of our knowledge about how to have chickens in urban environments and how to keep them healthy and happy and how they can provide great food for us. So we have workshops and apprenticeships for people on the site. And then, more land comes in. The High School for Public Service, they wanted to share that piece of land with us, and it was over an acre. It's huge. And so next thing you know, we have students from the school who are getting paid to work on the farm for the summer. So we're employing people on the farm in the summertime. And math classes are coming out, and they're building compost bins and cold frames, so they're doing all the math and calculating what they need to do, and they're building all of it. People are coming out and digging beds and putting in vegetables. The farm club is designing garden areas. People are harvesting. The students are sharing in the harvest of the site. We harvested, I think, 7,000 pounds of produce on the site this year. The students were helping us sell produce at the market for really reasonable prices. And the students were learning to cook, and they were eating straight from the farm. Which brings me back to what I was saying earlier, is that everybody eats. Every one of us. And it's really important to remember that. So I bet you if you were to make a list of all the things, all the problems in your life, or let's not say problems, all the things that could make your life better, if you were to make that list, I bet you that the things on that list, if they were to happen, would benefit your neighbor as well. And I bet you if you were to list all of your problems, you would probably share a lot of them with the person sitting right next to you right now. So that's actually the good news, I think, because the bigger the problem, that means the more people that are affected by the problem, it means that more people are willing to care about that problem. It means that more people are willing to do something about that. So that's a really powerful thing, right? If we're all working towards something, if we can all move that mountain, we can all reap the benefits. I always forget that I have to go. So good ideas are sticky. They're kind of like snowballs. All you have to do is think about one thing that could make the world a better place for yourself. And if it's something that's small and accomplishable, something that you can do today, something as small as keeping a reusable grocery bag in your bag so that you don't have to use a plastic bag at the store. Or maybe it's bigger, you want to cook dinner for your family. Maybe it doesn't have to do with food. Maybe your passion is somewhere else completely. But if you can think of one accomplishable thing that you can do today, and then you share it with as many people, that idea is going to keep snowballing, and it's going to get bigger, and it's going to get bigger, and more people are going to get involved. So I wanted to leave you guys by hearing your voices. You guys have said a couple things today. But something that we do on the farm is we say 3 things. And they're sort of promises to ourselves and promises to future generations. And so I wanted to have you guys say these things because right now as we're sitting here, we're having a volunteer day at the farm, and there's people showing up, and they're ready to dig, and they're ready to plant, and they're ready to do all these things. So I want them to hear your voices. So we're going to be loud, and Brooklyn is going to hear us, all right? So 3 things. You're going to say 3 things, and I need your hands for this. So you're going to say what I say, and you're going to do what I do, all right? Are you guys all ready? Are you going to do it? Yeah. I'm going to make you do it as long as it takes. It's so important in here, so you better do it.